When people talk about investing in Canada, they usually look west or straight to the bigger provinces. But some of the most interesting opportunities right now are on the East Coast. New Brunswick sits on Canada's East Coast with direct access to global markets, strong infrastructure, and a workforce that's quietly supporting growth across several key industries. It doesn't get the hype of Toronto or Vancouver, but it has something those places often don't: room to grow, competitive costs, and a long term economic strategy that's actually working. Today, we're going to break down what makes New Brunswick attractive for serious long term investment. We'll look at where the real economic momentum is coming from and what kinds of support exists for businesses and what challenges investors need to understand before jumping in. This is another video of our Invest in Canada series. I'm your host, Pierre Shields. Let's dive in. New Brunswick has built an economy that blends traditional industries with emerging ones, and that balance matters a lot. On one side, you have long-standing strengths in forestry, agriculture, aquaculture, and manufacturing. On the other, you have growing sectors like digital health, cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, and energy innovation. What makes this interesting from an investment perspective is that the province isn't dependent on a single industry or commodity cycle. Instead, it has multiple growth lanes tied to global demand, workforce development, and export markets. That kind of diversification gives New Brunswick a level of economic resilience that often gets overlooked, especially by investors who only look at population size instead of economic structure. Key growth sectors. Manufacturing remains a major pillar of the provincial economy, especially where it intersects with automation, advanced production, and industrial technology. Companies investing in modern equipment, process automation, and export-focused manufacturing are finding real opportunities here, particularly because operating costs remain competitive compared to larger provinces. At the same time, the ICT sector has been expanding steadily. Digital health, cybersecurity, and software development are all areas where New Brunswick has been building depth, supported by post-secondary institutions and workforce development programs. Good for you, New Brunswick. For companies looking to scale without the overhead of major urban centers, this has become a real advantage. Agriculture and aquaculture also continue to play a major role. Food production, processing, and value-added exports are growing, especially as global demand increases and supply chains shift closer to home. Coastal access gives New Brunswick a natural advantage when it comes to seafood, marine industries, and export logistics. Energy innovation is another area gaining traction. Grid modernization, energy efficiency, and clean technology projects are expanding, supported by both public and private investment. Companies working in this space benefit from proximity to Atlantic markets and policies designed to support energy transition and sustainability. Support for business investment. One of the reasons New Brunswick punches above its weight economically is the way it supports investment. Opportunities New Brunswick plays a central role here, working directly with companies to help them navigate regulations, identify workforce solutions, and connect with local supply chains. Instead of a one-size-fits-all approach, support is typically tailored to the needs of the business. On the financial side, the province offers a mix of tax incentives, funding programs, and growth support designed to reduce risk and encourage long-term investment. That includes investor tax credits, regional development funding, innovation and R&D programs, and support for workforce expansion. The important thing to understand is that Capital New Brunswick isn't just about loans. It's about strategic support designed to help businesses scale, modernize, and compete internationally. Real challenges. Now let's talk honestly about the challenges. New Brunswick is not a large economy, and its population size limits the scale of the local consumer market. That means businesses relying solely on local demand may struggle to grow without an export strategy. Labor availability is another concern. Like much of Canada, the province faces demographic pressures and competitions for skilled workers. Productivity improvements and automation are becoming increasingly important to stay competitive. But these challenges also create opportunity. Companies that focus on efficiency, exports, and long-term planning tend to do very well here. In many ways, New Brunswick rewards disciplined investment rather than speculative growth. Investment verdict. So what's the bottom line? New Brunswick offers strong global connectivity through Atlantic trade routes, a diversified economy that spans both traditional and emerging sectors, and a government that actively supports investment and growth. Again, good for you, New Brunswick. At the same time, investors need to understand the realities of a smaller label pool and the importance of productivity and scale. For investors who understand fundamentals, value long-term returns, and want access to North American and international markets without the cost structure of major cities, New Brunswick offers real opportunity. It's not flashy, it's not loud, but it works. And that's exactly why serious investors are paying attention. Thanks for spending time with me. I'm Pierre Shields. Go play outside.